For 6 months, they thought the house was haunted, but what they found under the floorboards wasn't a ghost, it was worse. When Chris and Emily bought their first home, it was everything they wanted. Quiet neighborhood, historic charm, and just barely within budget. The realtor called it a fixer-upper with a personality, but what she didn't mention was the personality included whispers in the hallway at night. The feeling that someone who was always watched. At first, it was an easy write-off. Old houses creak, pirates make noises, but by the third week, Emily refused to be in the house alone after dark. She swore she heard breathing in their bedroom, even when Chris wasn't home. Then, knocking started. Every night around 2:30 a.m., it hear a soft knock. Once, twice, 3 times, always the same rhythm. They searched every wall, window, and vent. Nothing. No animals, no drafts, no explanation. By month 2, Emily started keeping a journal. She logged everything, the noises, the sounds, the cold spots, the dreams. She said they all ended the same way. Chris was skeptical until the scratching began. It was coming from beneath the bedroom floorboard. They tore up the carpet, nothing. Still, the sound persisted, like fingernails dragging against wood. One night, Chris finally snapped. He got a crowbar, pried open one of the floorboards near the bed, and that's when they found it. Under the floorboards was a shallow crawl space, no more than 18 inches deep, and lying inside was a woman's dress, torn, moldy, covered in what looked like dried blood. Next to it was a single shoe, a bracelet. Emily screamed. Chris called the police. When investigators came, they cleared the crawl space and began a search of the house foundation. They discovered a narrow section that had been sealed off with bricks and concrete. Behind it was a hidden compartment, almost like a bunker. Inside were bones, human bones that had been there for years. The local coroner later confirmed the remains belonged to a woman in her late 20s. Cause of death, blunt force trauma to the skull. Time of death, roughly 10 to 15 years ago. But here's where it gets darker. The previous owner, a man in his 60s, who lived here alone for decades. He passed away 2 years ago before Chris and Emily bought the place. When police searched public records, they found a missing person report filed in 2007 for a woman named Lena R. Brooks. She had last been seen leaving a local bar with that same man. Turns out Leonard had been dating the homeowner briefly. He was never charged. No one ever found her until now. Chris and Emily had been sleeping just inches above her for months. Every knock, every scratch, they weren't hearing things. She was trying to be found. After the remains were moved, the noises stopped. The house went silent, but Emily just never felt safe again. She told Chris that even with the bones gone, something in the house had shifted. Like whatever had been trapped here was now free. 2 weeks later, she moved in with her sister and refused to step foot in the house again. Chris stayed behind, but only lasted a month. The final straw? He woke up at 2:13 a.m. to the same knocking sound. Only this time, it wasn't beneath the floor. It was coming from inside the closet. When he opened it, no one was there, but scratched into the woods were 3 words: "You found me." She sold the house a month later. To this day, it remains vacant. The new owners never moved in. Every few weeks, neighbors report hearing knocks. Always at 2:13 a.m., always 3 times. Police spent 9 days searching the woods, but the boy had never left his house, and his mom was the one who kept him hidden. When 10-year-old Mason Wilder went missing, the entire town of Fairview, Oregon dropped everything to find him. His mother, Rachel, had called 911 in tears. She said Mason was playing in the backyard. When she went to the bathroom, no sounds, just vanished. Within hours, police were combing the entire nearby forest, with dogs, drones, and volunteers handing out flyers. The local news ran emotional interviews with Rachel, pleading for her son's return, but something didn't add up. Neighbors told police they hadn't seen Mason playing outside that day at all. In fact, some of them hadn't seen him for nearly a week. When questioned, Rachel said Mason had been quietly spending most of his time in his bedroom. She brushed it off. Kids go through phases, she said, but detectives noted that her answers felt rehearsed, flat, almost like she practiced them. Still, with no evidence of foul play and no leads, the case is stalled. That is until day 9. Police returned to the home with a caviar dog, not because they believed Mason was dead, but because they had nothing else to go on. Dog alerted them in the hallway near Mason's bedroom. Officers searched the room again. Same posters, same toys, same bed. Nothing unusual. But one officer noticed something odd. The floor vents was screwed shut. When he opened and removed the vent cover, he found scratch marks on the inside, like fingernails dragging along the metal. He called for backup, and within minutes, they discovered it. Beneath the bed was a panel in the floor. Under that panel, a narrow crawl space, and inside was Mason, alive. Thin, dirty, shaking, but alive. He hadn't run away. He had been kidnapped. He had been hidden inside his own room for 9 days, and his mother put him there. The truth came out slowly. Mason told officers his mom had been acting weird lately. She kept saying people were watching them, that the neighbors had cameras in the trees, that they were going to take Mason away. So she locked him in a crawl space for his own protection. He cried, he begged to come out. She'd only open the panel once a day, just enough to slide in a granola bar or a bottle of water. No blankets, no lights, just darkness and dust and silence. Why? Turns out Rachel had been spiraling for months. Her journals found in the locked drawer were filled with paranoid scribbles. They're coming. Trust no one. He'll thank me later. She truly believed that she was saving her son, and somehow she managed to fool everyone. Neighbors, police, even her own family. Rachel was arrested on charges of child endangerment, false reporting, and unlawful imprisonment. She's now serving a 15-year sentence in a psychiatric correctional facility. Mason, thankfully, was recovered. He now lives with his aunt and has begun therapy, but he still refuses to go to sleep without the lights on, and he won't go near a floor vent. When asked if he understood what happened, he just said, "Mom said she was keeping me safe, but she was the one I needed saving from." The hotel said it was just another room, but every guest who stayed in room 313 vanished without a single trace. No blood, no signs of struggle, just gone. The Bear Cliff Hotel sits on the edge of an old mining town in Colorado, one of those places that looks frozen in time. Faded wallpaper, creaky floors, velvet furniture that hasn't been cleaned since the 80s. Locals avoid it. Tourists though, they love the vintage charm, especially 313, because for some reason that room never stays empty. But here's what they don't tell you on that website. No one stays in 313 ever checks out. It started in 1993. A traveling salesman named Gordon Weathers checked in for a one-night stay. The clerk remembered him because he was polite, quiet, and tipped an exact change. The next morning, his bed was made, his suitcase was still there, but he was gone. The manager assumed that he left early, but he never checked out, never picked up his suitcase, and never returned to his rental car parked out front. That was the first. Over the years, it became a pattern. Every couple of years, someone will request 313 and vanish. No forced entry, no signs of struggle, cameras in the hallway, nothing. They always show the person walking in, but never walking out. One woman disappeared mid-conference call. Her colleague said she was frozen mid-sentence, dead as something off-screen, and then screaming black hotel staff found her laptop open, coffee still warm, but she was gone. Another band live streamed his stay for a YouTube ghost hunting channel. He joked about summoning demons in room 313. Halfway through the stream, the screen turned to static. When police reviewed the footage later, they noticed something strange. The last frame showed him staring at the corner of the room, mouth wide open like he was screaming, but no sound came out. Still, the hotel never shut the room down. They quietly reimbursed the victims' families and claimed maintenance error, and the cycle continued until last year when a 17-year-old girl named Harper checked in under a fake name. She wasn't there for vacation. She was there to prove the room was cursed. The older brother disappeared in 313 2 years prior. No one believed it was paranormal, but she did. She bought cameras, EMF sensors, voice recorders, even nailed her bedroom shut from the inside. That night, she left her room to stay, same as others. At 3:13 a.m., her stream cut out. Police arrived 2 hours later. The room was locked from the inside. Cameras showed no one entering or exiting, but Harper was gone. Here's where it gets twisted. Unlike the others, Harper's left something behind. Carved into the mirror backward, like someone wrote it from the inside, were 4 words. It's not the room. Since then, 313 has been permanently closed, but no one knows what she meant. Some say the room itself isn't haunted, it's just the entry point. And once you step inside, whatever's watching finally gets in. The hotel is still open. The door to 313 is boarded shut, but guests in the room next door still complain about the sound of footsteps pacing the floor, tapping on the walls, and dead in the night, a voice whispering from the vents, "Check in, stay forever."